We are live. Welcome to college football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, if you need just a little bit of extra college football content in this off season to get you through the days, to get you through the nights, subscribe to our channel. Smash that like button. If you like our content, share the video with your family and friends. Share it with your psychiatrist. Share it with your priest, your significant other. Share this video across all your social media platforms. Welcome into the house that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Welcome in. The Pac-12 saga continues. We have some updated information from the Arizona State Money Perch. The San Diego State Aztec letter to the Mountain West Conference that they sent on June 13th has been revealed. From Matt Brown, I think he did a FOIA on it. Great work by him. We do have the letter. We're going to show it. And I come on. What are you doing, San Diego State? I know there's still some disagreement on how important this letter was and is. So we'll get to that. We're going to go to the John Wilner article today. We're going to get to that second. We're going to do the San Diego State letter first, the John Wilner article, then the Arizona State Money Perch. I will have to say, in our last live show, the Arizona State Money Perch said that they were going to, you remember, he's been saying since January 31st, there's no hard numbers that have been presented in front of the Pac-12 presidents. It hasn't been there. All this reporting is false. There's no numbers. There's nothing. There's nothing tangible. Our last live show, which I don't remember when it happened quite a few days ago. He told us that it was coming. Their expectations that the deal was, was going to be presented to them soon, and it was going to be difficult to decipher. It wasn't going to be a traditional deal. They're going to have to take time looking at it. You know what? We'll do the Arizona State Money Perch information right now, and then we'll get to the SDS letter and the John Wilner article, because it all ties in, and I think the Money Perch information so the information that we got is the deal that's going to be presented to the Pac-12 presidents. Either it's happening right now, or it's happening Tuesday, or it's happening Wednesday. We do not believe that they have been given this new comprehensive, not new, the first comprehensive potential media deal. We don't believe they received it this weekend. We have reasons for that. The only reason I can outright say in public is because it hasn't leaked any part of it yet. We don't think they've got it yet. But we do believe, we have reasons to believe this, else we wouldn't be saying it, that they're not going to get any, it's not going to happen Thursday or Friday this week. We have reasons to believe that. So, today could be going on right now, or maybe 4 hours ago they received something. We don't think so, but maybe, or Tuesday or Wednesday. We're not playing around here on this information. Remember, this is coming from a person who has told us ever since January 31st, no one has seen anything that's real. Now he's saying they're about to see something that is real. Now, maybe they saw it earlier this afternoon. We can't dismiss that possibility. But we don't believe they received anything this weekend. We could be wrong on that, but we don't think so. So they're about to get what they've been waiting for, where they can make business decisions on, like the Arizona president said, Robbins. I think this is going to help Colorado clear the air internally on the decision that they're about to make, stick or go. But we actually have strong reasons to believe that they're actually going to see something useful to the presidents and athletic directors. Now, what we don't have, what we do not have, is a morsel of what it looks like. That hasn't, we don't believe, one of the reasons why we don't believe it's been presented yet. We have our suspicions on what it's going to look like. We think they're going to generate a decent percentage of linear content with a couple linear smaller partners. But that's our suspicions. Else, well, we'll get into that later. But the Arizona State Money Perch is letting us know, the person who has said since all the way to January 31st that nothing has been presented to the presidents, he says it's happening either now or tonight or Tuesday or Wednesday. No later than Wednesday. We have our reasons. He has shown us the reasons why this isn't something that's going to happen Thursday this week or Friday this week. And we're not going to go into why that is. So, we think the Pac-12 presidents are going to, they're going to have, Now, is this going to be the official hard numbers? We can't tell you that, but they're going to know which direction this thing is going. What it's going to look like. So I would highly suspect, and I would advise the PATC community to keep your head on a swivel. Because there's no way, if what we believe is true, that it's going to happen here in the next couple hours or tomorrow or Wednesday, I can't imagine there not being at least some sort of leak that is going to happen. We're going to try. We're going to try to get you more detailed information, but I would keep your head on a swivel, and I would advise college football reporters, especially the ones out west, to keep their head on a swivel, start poking around here today, later this evening, tomorrow, or Wednesday. I would strongly advise to keep your head on a swivel. Now, we were also told from the Arizona State Money Perch in the last live show that whatever they're going to see here is going to be difficult to decipher. It's going to take some time to hash out. So I would imagine if they're getting the numbers this evening or Tuesday or Wednesday, and this is what we strongly believe, it's going to take, it might not be an automatic, no, we can't do this. It might not be an automatic, yes, let's do this. From the presidents and athletic directors, they might not be able to decipher how many games they should expect to be on linear television in their conference, Pac-12 football games, stuff like that. It isn't going to be so clear-cut. That was the expectations Arizona State had. Now, maybe they're wrong. Maybe they're wrong. They haven't been wrong yet. Money Perch hasn't been wrong yet. We shall see. What we don't have for you all is we don't have the information that you all desire on who's in it, what the media partners are. But starting right now, keep your head on a swivel. And we're going to be poking around. Other people are going to be poking around. Very interesting times here early in the week, or late in the month of June, I should say. So we'll get back to that. I'll read your comments. We'll do some live phone calls, of course. We'll get back to what the Arizona State Money Perch says. Even during this show, I would keep your head on a swivel. Again, we just to put a bow on this, we did poke around. We do not believe they received the presidents, athletic directors. We don't believe they received anything this weekend. Now, we could be wrong. We could be wrong. We're not infallible here at Peek Around the Corner. But from what the information that we trust, doesn't look like seem to have it now, but really soon. Okay? Let's get to it. San Diego State. Now, I apologize. This is in small. This is difficult to read. But essentially, this is the letter that San Diego State, the president sent to the Mountain West Conference, and all members, all the 11 presidents. And it's on June 13th. And I'm going to read it. Now, I know there's still some back and forth I know Mullen Vision is in the house, and he is saying that this still that San Diego State might have played this correctly. But let's get into the letter. This is from San Diego State, dear Mountain West Conference and all members. As shared with Commissioner Navarez at our June 2023 Board of Directors meeting, this letter is to formally notice that San Diego State University intends to resign from the Mountain West Conference, effective June 30th, 2024, or at an agreed upon later date. It has been an absolute joy to collaborate and compete with each of the member universities. In order to exit as efficiently and fairly as possible, I would like to respectfully make the following request for your consideration. Discuss notice requirement. And then you can read that. Although the Mountain West bylaws 1.04 typically requires notification by June 30th of the year preceding the effective date, San Diego State would like to ask for a 1-month extension given the unforeseen delays involving other collegiate athletic conferences beyond our control. And number 2, discuss the exit fee. San Diego State would also like to discuss the exit fee in full consideration of the value added from our recent participation in the NCAA Division I basketball championship game. Unit revenue from which will continue to come to the Mountain West Conference, even after San Diego State exits, in which our athletic director is prepared to discuss in detail, and with regard to the timing of the payout, such that a 4-year installment period may be considered. San Diego State is honored to have been a founding member of the Mountain West Conference for 25 years. We wish to transition in a manner that is fair and equitable to all involved. We wish to transition in a manner. I don't know. If San Diego State did not go over the line, if this is not a withdrawal letter, they got all the way up to the line. All the way up to the line. San Diego State is honored to have been a founding member of the Mountain West Conference for 25 years. We wish to transition to a manner that is fair and equitable to all involved, recognizing there have been unanticipated factors triggering the need for these requests. So there's a letter. Read it and let me know what you think in the comments section. Give us a phone call here at Peek Around the Corner. Not yet. Wait till the monologue is over. But 763-260-1333 is the number. Let me know what you're thinking. Is that a formal withdrawal letter? Okay, maybe not quite there. Maybe, but man, it's close. It is very close. I hope the San Diego State president had her lawyers look at this before they sent this off. Because I can understand why the Mountain West Conference is they've already started the process of withdrawal. They're not letting the San Diego State president be in the board, be on committees internally inside the conference. And it sounds like the Mountain West Conference is already holding back some of that Mountain West Conference payout money that San Diego State helped create. But it sounds like they're starting to hold that back from San Diego State as payment of the exit fee, the coming exit fee of $17 million. A lot of people are agreeing with me in the chat. There's some people who are disagreeing with me. I don't know. That letter was a lot more formal than I thought it was going to be. Come on, guys. That's, woo! Okay, intent is not action. Intent is not action. That's what Jim Reese is saying. Mona Vision is correct. Man, I tell you, San Diego State took it all the way up to the line. All the way up to the line. Okay, I'm going to get to John Wilner's article here in a second. But let's go through some of these comments. I want to thank everybody for coming in this late afternoon, early evening. Luis Carlos Diaz, he has his popcorn ready. Curtis Brown, this PATC is needed for this long Monday. Thank you for coming in, Curtis Brown. I appreciate it. Monovision, San Diego State will potentially pay a reduced payout of the $17 million. That's usually what happens. But they better have a conference. They better have a conference waiting for them. Pac-12 better come through for San Diego State. Or they're going to have to try to get back in the Mountain West Conference. Potentially. We'll see. John Coy, where Arizona jumped before Colorado. Are the Four Corner schools ready to move? I don't think anybody's going to move before Colorado. Is there a chance that Arizona jumps with Colorado? If anybody jumps? Yeah, there is. There definitely is. But I don't think anybody jumps before Colorado. Colorado was a lot closer. They had it all lined up a couple weeks ago. And for reasons, they decided, not yet. Not yet. We'll wait to see this Pac-12 media deal. It's an easier pill to swallow internally for Colorado to make the decision after they see this deal. And they're going to see it here soon. That's what we believe. That's what we believe. John Moore, formal intent is not action. Monovision, because it wasn't a casual letter, formally announcing an intent is not formally taken action. Legalese can be so annoying. Yes, that is true. Devil Frog, formal intent equals intent CYA. Nick Flint, they list the bylaws for Pete's sake. Doesn't it get more official than that? Any recent movement on Colorado? Nope. Colorado's already, we'll see what happens when they look at the numbers here. We believe here either this evening or right now or Tuesday or Wednesday. That's what we were told. That's what we believe very strongly. Okay. John Wilner. Go Black 45. According to 365 Sports, the Colorado board meeting was canceled because someone wanted to have a say before the vote. Yes, we are aware of 365's reporting. It has been absolutely brilliant during this saga. It's been from our perspective, it's been incredibly accurate because we've gotten a lot of the same information from different sources. So, because they're not getting it from us, we're not getting it from them. So 365 is been dead on. We don't have that information at Peek Around the Corner. We were not able to confirm that. So, that very well could be true. Colorado had it all lined up. They had it all done. So we'll see. Is it going to be easier for them to make a decision after they see the numbers? Is it easier internally? Of course. But yeah, Colorado has been in the center of the stage. Act 12. We're getting near the end of Act 12. If we want to set the stage here at the end, we're in the last scene of Act 12. Colorado still in the middle of the stage. Arizona is a couple arm lengths away. No movement there. Utah and Arizona State are all the way up in the front row. It is that serious for those two universities. You know, they want to stay in the Pac-12, but they have not been. Arizona State has not been happy. They are not happy. Okay, I'll say the word allegedly. Arizona State is not happy with the Pac-12 leadership and how this process has played out, allegedly. UConn is in the 10th row. San Diego State, we're going to move them up about the 38th row all the way to the 30th row. So that's one movement. We'll move San Diego State all the way up to the 30th row, and that's it. We don't have anybody else in the auditorium at this moment. We don't have Gonzaga. We don't have Nevada. We don't have Memphis. Okay, let's get to the John Wilner. Pac-12 media rights. This is from today. 6 extreme scenarios worthy of consideration as the saga hurdles toward a conclusion. Maybe. From All In with ESPN to another delay, we address the unlikely but possible outcomes. Pac-12 fans and hotline readers were caught by surprise 361 days ago when news broke that the Los Angeles schools were leaving the Big Ten in the summer of 2024, sparking an existential crisis for this century-old conference. We don't want you to be surprised by the end game. Pac-12 fans and hotline readers were caught by surprise 361 days ago. If you were reading Flug Empire, our Twitter account, you were not caught by surprise. I know Daniel Montecastle is in the room, and he will tell you we were not caught by surprise. I tried to give the information to Hotline and other people out in the West Coast, and they did not. I guess they did not find it worthy, even though we had so much information, 3 months of it. USC 247 took our information. They knew what was about to happen. Minnesota 247 knew what was going to happen. But yes, hotline readers and most Pac-12 fans, which is 99.99% of them, who wasn't reading Flag Empire Twitter, were caught by surprise. We had not set up our Peek Around the Corner show quite yet. So, for that reason, the hotline has spent the past year addressing such very topics as the role of the Pac-12 networks, the value of Saturday night kickoffs, possible partnerships with the Big 12 and the ACC, the benefits of going all in with Amazon, the impact of economic conditions, the San Diego State imperative, this SMU calculation, and the risk of delay. Nor have we ignored the ongoing possibility of an extinction event. Commissioner George Klicoff presents the suboptimal media deal to his presidents, and an exodus begins. And I have to give John Wilner credit. He has not ignored that possibility. While others out there have ignored it and have told people who even speculate on it that they're lying or not telling the truth of the matter is there is a chance for the extinction event for the Pac-12. Back to the article. But there are other potential outcomes to this highly fluid situation. And it is fluid. No question about it. Scenarios that we have not covered in depth on the hotline. 6 are addressed below. They might seem unlikely or even extreme, but that's precisely the point. No endgame should be ignored until there's a deal. After all, nobody expected a crisis that began on June 30th, 2022 would be unresolved on June 26th, 2023. Scenario 1. Scenario 1. The X Factor. Summary. One facet of the media rights deal is completely unexpected, despite our best efforts to cover the full sweeps of possibilities. That could be. There could be something in this media rights deal that none of us expected. The case. For months, the trail of breadcrumbs has suggested the Pac-12 would sign a medium-length media rights deal, 5 to 7 years, with Apple or Amazon, ESPN, and possibly Fox as partners. An evaluation within close range of the Big 12, $31.7 million per school per year. But the conference has done sorry. But the conference has done a masterful job preventing leaks. And the lack of information leaves us with an overwhelming sense that there's an unreported element, something unprecedented in the history of collegiate media rights deals. I'm just going to continue. For example, could the number of games on streaming increase over time as the platform becomes mainstream? Could there be some sort of flex scheduling piece? I think so. Could the Pac-12 join arms with NBC or CBS? I don't think so. We are merely guessing, but don't be surprised if one aspect of the deal is an eye-opener. Likelihood 60%. And I do think there's going to be something very unusual with this deal. And not just about the streaming part of it. Just like what John Wilner, could it be the streaming becomes more as the deal goes on in the second, third, fourth year of the deal? Or some sort of flex scheduling. I think that very well could be a part of it. Absolutely. The Arizona State Money Perch told us in the last live show that once they get this package, once they get this comprehensive deal, it's going to be hard to decipher right away when they see it. They're going to have to really work through it. I think Kliakoff is going to layer this sucker up. And it's going to be hard to know what kind of value this media deal is going to give to these universities right when they see it. That's what Arizona State believes. And I'll just put the word allegedly in there. Allegedly. This is what Arizona State believes. This is what their expectations are. Okay. Scenario number 2, standing on 10. The 10 remaining schools decide not to expand. The case? The hotline has plunged into the issue of game inventory numerous times during the saga, and they have, and they've done a good job. But here's an 8-word recap. More teams equals more games equals more money. It also equals more slices of the pie that you have to give out. As a 10-team conference, the Pac-12 would have approximately 65 home football games per year to license to its media partners. As a 12-team league, it would control roughly 78 games annually, and each game is worth several $1 million. What's more, the additional inventory would allow the Pac-12 to more easily fill the Thursday and Friday night windows that carry value for the networks. That's a good point. But what if Kliakoff crafts a deal that places the Pac-12 in the same valuation range as the Big 12 schools without added inventory? In that case, the presidents might favor hunkering down with 10. The likelihood is 20%, according to John Wilner. This scenario, at 20%, that'd be a horrible scenario for San Diego State. That'd be dreadful, especially if the Mountain West Conference continues to believe and will fight it in court that San Diego State has left the conference. That was a withdrawal notice according to their bylaws. That's going to be an awful mess. Back to the article. Scenario 3. Scenario 3, and I have this at 0.0%. Scenario 3, John Wilner, that's a wrap. Summary, the Pac-12 quietly agreed to a media rights deal months ago. The case, recalled the flurry of forecasts from the university presidents in February and March that suggested the deal was imminent. 3 months later, it appears they grossly misread the situation. But what if the presidents were right? What if Kliavkoff accepted final bids from the networks during that early spring window and settled on a preferred offer, but he couldn't cross the finish line with a formal contract because of the delays with the negotiating partners? In other words, the framework for a deal has been in place for months. That would explain why presidents took the time to settle on the language in the grant of rights agreement, which they plan to sign as soon as the formal offer is presented. After all, they're running a multi-billion-dollar campuses. It would never bother with a grant of rights piece if Kliavkoff were scrambling to rustle up offers, likelihood 15%. This is where I disagree. That's a 0%. First of all, that last piece where John Wilner says, look, these people are running multi-billion-dollar campuses. It would never bother with a grant of rights piece if Kliavkoff were scrambling to rustle up offers. Kliavkoff has been scrambling to rustle up offers. And not only that, that grant of rights piece, that's a verbal agreement. It means absolutely nothing. Nada. Zilch. It means nothing. I wish that whole story is the most waste of time reported story in this whole saga. That grant of rights piece is nothing. So, and not only that, are you saying that they've had this in place and there's been no leaks and these presidents are running around saying, I need to see the deal before I can make a decision? If they had a deal, a structure of a deal in place for months, well, this is ridiculous. That's a 0%. I'm sorry. We have to call it like we see it here at Peek Around the Corner. 0% on that. Scenario 4. All in with Mickey. Summary. The Pac-12 agrees to license all football, men's and women's basketball, and Olympic sports content to Disney, the parent company of ESPN Networks, ABC, and Hulu streaming platform. The case for all the speculation about ESPN not wanting the Pac-12 inventory or preferring a small package of games. What if the opposite is true? Disney would have an option to place a handful of games on ABC. It would retain the valuable 7:30 p.m. Saturday window. It would have a huge pool of content for ESPN Plus and any other company-owned streaming platforms. Remember, the primary ESPN network would move to streaming in a few years and become the warehouse for the vast majority of Disney college football inventory. Additionally, an all-in deal would give ESPN the licensing rights to non-conference showdowns played on Pac-12 campuses, including Oregon, Oklahoma State, 2025, Arizona State, Texas A&M, 2027, Washington, Michigan, 2028, Colorado, Florida, 2029, and Utah, LSU, 2031. The issue here, of course, is the price point. The conference might desire a comprehensive deal with Disney, but would the valuation figure be acceptable to a cash-starved schools? The likelihood is 10%, according to John Wilner. All in with Mickey, 10% in one of these crazy scenarios that he's put forward in the article. Again, we have all in with Mickey for Pac-12. We have that at 0%. That's not happening. If it happens, I'll come up on here, take the big L, apologize to Mr. Wilner. Now, Wilner did say he's just going over the extreme scenarios. So he's not saying that this is going to happen. But he is giving a percentile to it. That 10%, for that to happen, I mean, Andrew Michon, Sports Media Podcast, Sports Business Journal, has been writing for months that ESPN is only interested in a very small package of games. And they are miles and miles and miles apart with the Pac-12. And that's been going on for months. Plus a whole bunch of other reporting out there, what we have heard peek around the corner. That's not happening. It's just isn't. It's not 10%. It's 0% or 0.0001%. Scenario number 5. Strength in numbers. The Pac-12 decides to add 4 teams, not 2. The case. When it comes to the membership issue, much of the media focus has been on 2 outcomes. Standing on 10 or adding San Diego State and SMU. There has been zero attention, either informed or widely speculative, placed on adding 4 schools. Once again, we turn to the inventory calculation. With 14 members, the conference would control approximately 90 games each season, or 25 more than it does if it does not expand. Which schools are in line to join the Aztecs and Mustangs under this scenario? The hotline could make a case for Rice or Tulane. I wonder if Western Civic is listening to this. The hotline could make a case for Rice or Tulane, which easily clear the academic bar and would provide access to the Houston and New Orleans markets, respectively, but it's not a strong one. Likelihood, 1%. So 1%, not just to add 2, but to add 4 schools. We at Peek Around the Corner, we would actually put that around 3%. A little bit more than 1%, 3%. That's how we would have it, but very low. I don't think, obviously, none of us think that's going to happen. Scenario number 6. Hitting pause. Instead of finalizing a media rights deal this summer, the Pac-12 delays until the winter. The case, there isn't one, at least in the known universe, but the hotline loves the alternate version where this outcome warrants a mention. Given the next media rights deal cycle doesn't start until the summer of 2024, there are no contractual or structural impediments to delaying the process through the upcoming football season. Why bother mentioning this seemingly outlandish scenario? Because the near-term outlook for Pac-12 football, the 2023 season, is extremely bright. I agree with the hotline on that. I agree with Wilner. 2023 is going to be an exciting season in the Pac-12. The conference should have 5 or 6 teams in the preseason AP poll and is loaded with Heisman Trophy candidates and high-profile coaches. This could be the best season for television ratings in the conference history. And those ratings, in theory, could drive up the price of the content. And don't forget, the Pac-12 is the only Power 5 conference with football inventory available into the 2030s. And finally, obviously, the uncertainty that accompanying another delay would leave the schools vulnerable to poaching, so this strategy would carry a massive risk. The ultimate example of betting on yourself, but goodness, it would be fascinating. Likelihood 0.1%. We at Peek Around the Corner have that as 0% as well. So there's the John Wilner article talking about the extreme cases, the extreme scenarios, what could happen in the Pac-12. Again, we at Peek Around the Corner, we're going to get to your comments and phone calls right now, but we believe that the Pac-12 presidents are either about to get a presentation of some real good hard numbers, or they're going to get it on Tuesday or Wednesday. No later than Wednesday this week, and it's going to take time for them to hash this out. They're not going to be looking at it for 10 minutes. Okay? Let's get to your comments. Let's get to your phone calls. We talked about the San Diego State letter, June 13th letter. We showed that on the screen early in the show. We'll show it again. John Coy, no to Disney. Devil Frog, Pac-12 presidents want a political alignment with Mickey Mouse. Joe says Pac-10 hits pause. Option 6 is the best with all these extreme scenarios. David M. says Colorado and Arizona stays is 5%. This guy has quite the fiction writer. He has a real shot at making it when this PAC gig is up. Nick Kelso, head on a swivel time. Hopefully Colorado and Arizona have enough information to make a decision. So tired of the can kicking. I think everybody is. I think the university presidents and the athletic directors are pretty much at the end of this. Heck with this article. Go to your callers. They know more than this guy. Okay, let's do it. Let's go to the phones. Let's get this thing going. Phone lines are now open. 763-260-1333. Again, we've gone over the San Diego State letter to the Mountain West Conference. The Money Perch, Arizona State says the Pac-12 presidents are finally going to see some hard numbers, either right now, this evening, Tuesday or Wednesday. No later than Wednesday, they're going to get their first peek at some real numbers.
Call from
Moen Vision.
Moen Vision, the floor is yours. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you know. I know you know a lot about the San Diego State letter. You have a very strong opinion. What's going on, my brother, Buckeye brother?
My opinion stays the same. San Diego State never formally resigned. They formally gave intention to resign. Completely different thing. And the Mountain West Conference played into it by kicking them out. I mean, now San Diego State has a legitimate grief. They can argue against any payout to them.
So is this going to the courts?
Is
this going to go to the courts or settlement before the court?
Well, there'll be a settlement before the courts. I mean, they're not going to pay $17 million. My guess is they'll probably end up paying around $10 to $11 million and just be done with it. But I think San Diego State was in the right on this. I think they knew what they were doing. That's why they CC'd in every single president. Because they did that, they'd have to call every single president to the stand, and every one of those presidents would have to agree that it was a formal resignation. And I don't think you're going to find 10 presidents that can agree on anything. So even if one of them said that they didn't think it was a formal resignation, that would be enough for San Diego State. As to the PAC media deal, I mentioned this in chat. I think the deal is going to end up being $40 million per team. But and it's a big but. It's a Sir Mix-a-Lot sized but.
Yeah.
That $40 million is going to be hitting every single incentive placed before them, which is going to be next to impossible. I believe they will get a deal with Apple, probably CW. The Apple side of it is going to be extremely heavy on the incentives. They're going to have to hit subscriber numbers and do it by this date and have this many unique views and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's something the Pac-12 presidents can at least take back and say, oh, no, we got more media money than the Big 12 did. You know what I mean? It's semantics. Technically, they did, but it's all incentive-based. I think most of your teams are probably going to be making like 22 to 25 million by the end of the day without incentives. And then the college football playoff, the unequal revenue share that they've developed in that, allegedly, through that gore they allegedly agreed on, you're probably going to see them hitting the same payouts as Big 12 teams if they make the playoffs or if they make the postseason. I mean, it's something that Oregon and Washington are going to be at least, 3 to 5 years where they'll be making 50 to 60 million in total payouts that they can live on. Your teams like Washington State are probably only going to be making 22 million for that 3 to 5 years, but they're going to be okay with that because they know this is the last Pac-12 media deal. This at least gets their books straightened out. They can get some money to roll in there and figure out how they're going to cut back on things. But
Mo and Vision, can you pause for a second? I got some information here from The Athletic. So the June 13th letter was revealed, right? Matt Brown revealed it. Now they're revealing the June 14th letter from Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Navarez back to San Diego State. Are you okay with me reading this stuff and you just pause?
Go for it. I want to hear it. Go for it.
Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Navarez replied, now I'm reading how The Athletic wrote the article. I'm not... you know what? I'll read the letter. I'll read the letter. It's hard for me to read. Dear Adela, the San Diego State president. So this is the Mountain West responding. On behalf of the board of directors, the Mountain West Conference, I would like to thank you for your consideration and professionalism in discussing the resignation of San Diego State University at the board meeting last week. San Diego State has been an important member to the Mountain West, and it is with heavy heart that we receive this news. We wish you only the best in your new conference, and we will work with you to ensure a smooth transition. To that end, I hereby confirm receipt on June 30th, 2023, the notice date of your notice of resignation. The notice of resignation from the Mountain West, effective as of June 30th, 2024. Putting aside your request waivers for a moment as a matter of any obligations that San Diego State may have to the conference as a result of the obligations incurred or commitments made prior to the effective date, San Diego State is obligated to pay an exit fee in an amount equal to 3 times the average per member conference distribution payment for the preceding year. So that's about $17 million because they're getting about short of $6 million per year in conference payouts. I just added that in there. As of the notice date, all payments due San Diego State from the Mountain West should be withheld and applied to the exit fee. The balance of the exit fee should be paid to the Mountain West on or before the effective date. The period from the notice date to the effective date shall be blah, blah, blah. In addition, during the interim period, the bylaws make clear that San Diego State shall play all athletic competition included in the conference schedules until the effective date. So that's the letter back. And then on June 15th, San Diego State writes a letter back to Mountain West Dear Commissioner Navarez, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you earlier today. Following that conversation, this letter is to clarify 2 important points. First, our letter dated June 13th, 2023 was not the official notice of resignation from the Mountain West Conference pursuant to bylaw 1.04. Now, we're going to have to look at the bylaws up here. As plainly set forth in that letter, its purpose was twofold: to request a 1-month extension of time under which we could formally provide our notice of resignation, and to ask for the opportunity to discuss the exit fee. Our goal was and has always been to be transparent about our intentions, to give the Mountain West opportunity to meet before June 30th, to consider our requests, especially our requests concerning an extension of the resignation window. As you know, there have been delays outside of our control, such we continue to ask for your special consideration on the deadline. June 16th, Narvaez goes back and replies to De La Torre. So here's the commissioner, back to San Diego State. On behalf of the board of directors, the board, the Mountain West Conference, I would like to thank you for your letter dated June 15th. We write to inform you that the conference will not approve any waiver or any requirement under the bylaws of the Mountain West at this time. For the avoidance of doubt and notwithstanding any decision made in the future meeting of the board, the conference expects all members to abide by the terms of the bylaws, including any applicable notice deadlines. Please note that this letter is not intended to express agreement with any interpretation expressed in the second notice letter, including those concerning whether your letter dated June 13, 2023 constitutes a notice of resignation under the bylaws. The conference continues to reserve all rights. So, there's a big disagreement, right? The Mountain West Conference thinks that was a notice of withdrawal. What do you think now, Motivision?
It remains unchanged. That wasn't a notice of withdrawal. That was a notice of intent.
Okay.
The Mountain West has taken that intent as a form of action. They're going to have to argue that in the court of law. And what little I know from people I know who are attorneys, I've asked them, and intent is not action. So it's more on the side of San Diego State than it is the Mountain West. But like I said, I think it gets settled. I think it gets squashed. San Diego State ends up paying less. They end up getting some kind of distribution for this year. That was San Diego State's main concern, I'm sure, was, hey, don't hold our money in case we need it for July, you know?
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. But I think San Diego State's still in the right. I think the Mountain West did a fumble with just immediately accepting it as a resignation. I'm sure that somebody in their legal department said, oh, yeah, that constitutes a... But I'm sure there's people in San Diego State's legal department that are saying, oh, no, it doesn't. So he said, she said, and we'll see what happens there.
Well, this is a she said, actually.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
She said,
yeah.
You know. Well, we'll see what happens.
All right.
No future big expansion without Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And Oregon, stop worrying about our recruits and start worrying about your recruits.
Wow, that's a shot. Buckeye to the Ducks. Wow. All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Great call by Motivision. Cameron B., thank you for your super chat. Thank you for your continued generosity to the show. I appreciate it very much. Cameron B. says, doesn't pass the smell test. Probably low money and exposure for the Pac-12 media deal. It's not passing the smell test, not passing Cameron's B smell test. Thanks again for the super chat. I appreciate it. Once again, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. You'll get notified of our upcoming live show.
Call from
JB.
JB is back. The floor is yours, good sir. What do you got to say?
After reading the letter, then hearing you read the letter, both sides just jockeying for the best way out. When they go to meet to try to, come to some resolution and have some final say with each other, and just, it's always going to come down to that, Greg, when they meet and they come to consensus and figure out a way to solve the issue.
But what if?
And both parties.
But what if, JB? What if?
Yeah.
What if the Pac-12 signs a media deal? All 10 presidents sign it, but they can't make it work. They can't make expansion work. Now what happens? What does San Diego State do now? If the Mountain West Conference believes they have left the conference and they're going to meet in the middle, well, meeting in the middle means San Diego State has to pay something up just to get back into the Mountain West Conference, right?
Well, if that scenario happens, Greg.
Yep.
Then you have the next independent until they can find some place to land.
Yeah, okay.
Would probably be the smartest thing in my mind. Go independent and figure out something else until you can. Go independent until you can either get into the Big 12 or the Pac-12 or the Pac-10 or whatever it's going to be called then, and just keep moving, because you can't go back. Going back would just create even more problems for you.
Good point.
In my 40 years of walking sidelines and in and out of dugouts and all other locker rooms and whatnot, people like me, this is our fun time, because games and practices I can say was, because I'm out of business now, was our grind, was not our fun time. We enjoyed games, but to a point. But now, this is the type of stuff we would sit around and eat our lunches or have our breaks. This is the type of stuff we would talk about and find joy in and whatnot. So I know you, as we used to call people like you civilians, enjoy the games, enjoy hearing about recruiting and practices, but that was our grind, and that was not what we looked forward to in some ways. But this crazy stuff now, this is the type of stuff that would make us laugh, make us think, just to decompress from games and from practices. So I always tell people I'm the wrong person to sit down and watch a game with, because I see totally different stuff than most people.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I recall sitting in now, which is defunct, Joe Sensors, with some former coworkers, and we were watching a Gopher football game against Michigan State, and I heard a loud pop, and I said, somebody's helmet just exploded, and everybody looked at me like I was crazy. And 5 minutes later, the broadcast finally caught up, and Kirk Cousins, the quarterback at Michigan State, had a fist-sized hole in his helmet because he tried to lead head first into the end zone, and he got in, but his helmet exploded, and he ran to the sideline.
That was Joe Sensors in Bloomington?
No, Roseville.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they had one in Bloomington too. Yeah. Are they both closed down now or what?
Yeah, they're both gone.
Okay.
Matter of fact, the one in Bloomington has been leveled, and the car dealership next to it, which is my car dealership.
Oh, okay. They had good sensor fries.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
But my main point for calling was just to let people know that us people in college sports, didn't spend a lot of time talking about games and practices. We talked about this type of stuff because we found it way more interesting. Yeah. And my thought is either they come to a settlement with the Mountain West and move on to another conference, or they wind up a year or two as a independent. So those are my thoughts.
Got it. All righty.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, JB. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Take care.
All right. Great call. Phone number 763-260-1333.
Call from
Immaculate.
Immaculate is in the house. What's going on, Brian?
Greg, how's it going today?
Doing good. Doing good.
I'm really glad Moen went first. Because I definitely couldn't have talked about San Diego State that much like he did. But I do think I know what they should do if it goes bad with Mountain West and they don't get in with the PAC.
Okay, what should they do?
They should join the American.
Woo!
I know, right? You look at that's from left field.
Yeah.
I can go into why, but I'm kind of curious to see what you think of that.
Yeah, let me process that for a second. Yeah. I think for San Diego State, if they had their choice, with everything being even, they'd want to be staying in the Mountain West.
Sure.
But it's not everything being even, right? They just, if under your scenario, if they can't get in the Pac-12, the Mountain West says, see ya. Oh, you want back in? You're going to have to pay us some extra money. Yeah, suddenly the American probably becomes at least a very interesting scenario. But I want to hear you, you've given some thought on this. I want to hear what you got to say.
I've been working on some stuff on the side, trying to get some things figured out on this. And this is one of the things that popped up. And the reason why they would go that way is I do believe, my thought on how many FBS conferences we're actually going to have in the end. I'm looking at 6. People might wonder why 6. Well, 25 teams per conference, 6, 150.
Yeah.
That carries 130, 131 that are in the FBS currently. 5 conferences of 25, 125. Can't do it. 6 is the lowest we can go, and this is about consolidation. If people think consolidation is just in the majors, they're wrong. I mean, you have it right here today. You've got you had the information on how many are actually happening down below as well. Consolidation is happening just as quickly down below. And if people tend to think that the G5s don't matter, all they got to do to realize that they matter is go to collegefootballplayoff.com, go to government, and you will see that they have an equal place on the college football playoff governance company as all the major conferences. So they're there deciding where this playoff is going equally.
Yes.
So it's also in their best interest then to maybe not quite have as many of their own if they actually want to place there. And if you look at the way even the 12 is set up, it's not really set up to help out the G5s all that much. Yet here they are, they have equal say. They have the American, Conference USA, Mid-American, Mountain West, and the Sun Belt all have votes. So that's why I say I think that they are all going to be consolidating massively. So I actually think that the Mountain West and American might merge in the future, which means San Diego State's just ahead of the game. And in a way, they're kind of there helping determine the terms from the other side. So it would be a bit ironic, I guess you could say.
Yeah. It's interesting, and we might get the opportunity to see how this plays out, because that scenario is a possibility. It is.
Yeah. That goes into like what I think for the tournament in the end, which is be a tournament of champions, 6 teams. If there's 6 conferences, each conference gets a team in. Conference tournaments for each of those conferences. During that time, there's not much content. Every single one of those conferences could actually have a TV deal for their postseason conference tournament coverage. So now, if you only have 2 or 3 mid-majors, so to speak, well, this is going to help them make more money than they've ever made before.
Yeah.
Have an automatic bid to a final tournament. They get to be the Cinderellas. Everyone loves Cinderellas. That's how you get viewers. So you have your Cinderellas in there. That's why the majors don't want to get rid of them, probably. But yet, at the same time, most of the money will still be to the majors because of the conference tournaments will be worth so much more. So that's why I think, in the end, San Diego State, it's not as bad as it looks. They could just go join the American. Yeah, for a couple years, you're going to have some really ugly payments for travel. But if you're going to end up joining the conference at that level that's going nationwide anyways, well, get used to it.
Yeah.
So that's where I think that's going. As far as the Pac-12 stuff, man, this Wilner guy keeps outdoing himself. I don't know what to think about what he said.
Well, he was, to be fair, he said these are extreme scenarios. So, out of those extreme scenarios, he was given percentage of what would happen. So, but some of those were, in my opinion, were absolutely 0%. I mean, flat out, no way. No way has the Pac-12 had a deal done months ago. That hasn't happened.
Like, even if it's a CW and Apple deal,
yeah,
you're not going to have any type of a live production team that really knows what they're doing, that has, the guys on the microphone that are good at what they do. It's, no matter how much money they give you, it's still not going to be as good. Whereas the Big 12 has ESPN and Fox. Like, just think about that comparison. Money, even if it's equal, the difference of presentation of your games on ESPN and Fox versus the presentation of your games on CW and Apple with Pac-12 network doing the production value. Like, oof. Maybe they got something with one of these production companies that could do it, but I don't see how it works other than giving the schools that want to leave actual ammunition to leave. So that's where I'm seeing that.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's my big thing. I'm really kind of been looking into a conference for all of the kind of elite private schools that might merge up together, just because it's an entirely different demographic to reach for the advertisers. And it's interesting. We might see something, but yeah, there's so much consolidation going on down below that I would expect to see San Diego State go that way. And don't be surprised if you start to see leaks about merging. I mean, what Herb Street and Feinbaum already did pretty much shook everybody.
Yeah.
And I just don't see them both coming that close together. You kind of caught me off guard with that last time I called in, so I didn't really know what to think of it at the time.
Yeah.
But the fact that they said that so close together, it really does. And I said this on someone else's chat, but it looks like a green light.
Yeah.
Looks like something happened. ESPN is in the middle of it, and so now you've got these 2 big ESPN guys, some of the most connected. Herb Street's been going to universities across the country for years now. I mean, that guy's got to know more people in the college football world and decision makers than anyone else.
I think there's not a whole lot of confidence in this Pac-12 media deal that's going to keep that conference together. And there's going to be some ripple effects. That's going to cause more ripple effects. I think throughout the whole landscape, behind the curtain, Brian, there's not a whole lot of confidence in this Pac-12 media deal. But I want to. Thanks for the phone call. I want to get to the front office sports article.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it, Brian.
Okay, like I said, just keep looking at the ACC. I think that's probably what's keeping up the PAC the most is the fact that we're seeing the smoke now. So that's where I think everything is to watch at this point. And the PAC probably just needs a short-term deal to get through. But you have a good one. Appreciate you having me on, man.
Yep, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Great call. Daniel Montecastle said it. A few other people have made a comment on it. Curtis, the Pac-12 media rights negotiations are not going very well. CBS Sports, Barrett Salih told Front Office Sports. Barrett Salih, CBS Sports. This is what he said in the article today. Salih on the impending conference realignment. We're going to see a lot of movement since the Pac-12 media rights deal is sort of all over the place. We've seen Apple kind of go away. We've seen the CW kind of go. The Pac-12 is a big-time mess right now, due in large part to Larry Scott, the former commissioner, who really sent this whole thing into a spiral 10 years ago. I think that has opened the door for other conferences to go fishing. If the Pac-12 media rights deal falls apart or just aren't very attractive to some schools that might be willing to leave or want to leave, then the Big 12 might start making some moves. Then you're going to see the Pac-12 make some moves and the Mountain West probably make some moves. Nothing different than what we've all been saying on whether geography matters to the conferences. Obviously, it doesn't matter the Big Ten at all. It does vary. I think it does matter to the ACC for now, partly because they're locked into their deal. For the SEC, I guess it matters a little bit because traditionally you want Southern football to be Southern football. If you're the SEC, why do you add an average or slightly above average team program if it doesn't help you? If the SEC wants to go get Oregon and Washington, which might be two huge fish, is that even worth to go across the country and get those two teams? Probably not. On the conference facing termination, I think it's possible. Hold on one second. I think it's possible for maybe the Mountain West, although I doubt it. If we're creating a pie in the sky scenario, let's just say the Pac-12 loses 2 Arizona schools in Colorado and Utah, then Oregon and Washington. That could mean the Mountain West just gives all their teams to the Pac-12. I don't know if that's going to happen. Then what happens to the Mountain West? You combine it with the Sun Belt. So he's speculating along with all of us are speculating. But he believes, he's heard that it's not going well. The Pac-12 media negotiations are not going well. Basically what we've been saying here for weeks and months. We're going to shut it down here for this live show. It's a short one this evening. I want to thank Mireya, the moderator, for giving us the support to go live, and my family members who have taken care of my parents here this afternoon. But we're going to have to shut it down for now, but keep your head on a swivel. We could pop up at any time. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel because we can pop up at any time. You'll get notified. I want to thank you for your comments. I want to thank you for your phone calls this late afternoon, early evening. Again, Arizona State Money Perch told us today that the Pac-12 presidents, according to what he's been told, are going to see some actual real numbers either this evening, Tuesday or Wednesday, no later than Wednesday this week. So keep your head on a swivel. We could be hearing some leaks here very shortly. Keep your head on a swivel. Until next time. From all of us at PATC, to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you